Hi guys. Okay, so I realized that in all the videos I've done lately, I haven't properly introduced myself. Yeah, so my name's David Ezem, and I looked at the comments and people that have talked to me. Some of you asked why I haven't been showing my face. Well, that's because we are working on a studio setup, and so until that is finished, yeah, you guys will have to make do with my voice for now. A second section also talked to me about local content. Yes, that is also in the works. On this channel, I will not only be covering, foreign content. You can also see local Nigerian content. We are going to be reviewing one pretty soon. Yeah, so yeah, I do listen to feedback, and we're working on that to make sure you have the best experience whenever you come to our channel. But for today, we are going to be taking a look at Game of Thrones. Okay, Game of Thrones just finished, and there has been a little bit of mixed reactions as to how the season finale ended. And I think as of right now, it has reached 1 million people that have signed the petition for a remake of the Game of Thrones season finale. Although, let's be honest guys, that is not going to happen. So today we're going to be taking a look at what actually made Game of Thrones a success. What is that thing? Because Game of Thrones is arguably the most watched television show in the world. Of course, the credit for creating this spectacle involved a lot of people. You have people in VFX departments, the sets, the production design, you have the costumes, you have the actors, you have the line producers. There is a whole lot of people that actually brought this epic spectacle to life. But there are three main people that are at the helm of it. They actually ran this whole program, and that is the executive producers David Benioff and D.B.Weiss, popularly called D&D. Also, we can talk of George R.R.Martin, the writer of the book. Because you see, the Game of Thrones originally, or rather was adapted from George R.R.Martin's book series, A Song of Ice and Fire. In March 2010, HBO greenlit a television series based on A Song of Ice and Fire, written and executive produced by David Benioff and D.B.Weiss, called Game of Thrones. The series premiered on 17th of April 2011 and was a critical and commercial success. So, based off the books, the series of A Song of Ice and Fire, this is how the TV show corresponds with books that were in the series. Season 1 corresponds with A Game of Thrones, the book. Season 2 was taken from A Clash of Kings. Season 3, the first half of A Storm of Sword. Season 4 took the second half of A Storm of Swords. Season 5 took both A Feast of Crow and A Dance with Dragons, and some other new material outside the book. Season 6 also took both A Feast of Crow and A Dance with Dragons, and some new materials that was outside the book. While Season 7 and Season 8 was totally independent of the source material. As of Season 7, there were no more books that they could cover. They basically ran out of books, so even the readers did not know what was going to happen because they basically ran out of source materials, so they had to depend on their own writing skills, so to say, on how the season will go forward. I will get back to that in a little because there were ramifications as a result of them running out of the source material. The story of Game of Thrones takes place on the fictional continent of Westeros and Essos. It has several plot lines and a large assembled cast. Now the season begins with a soldier of the ancient Night Watch order who survives an attack by supernatural creatures known as the White Walkers. He attempts to abandon the order but is captured and sent to Castle Winterfell, which is ruled by Ned Stark, the Warden of the North, who executes the soldier for desertion. In King's Landing, Jon Arryn, the King's Hand, dies under mysterious circumstances. King Robert Baratheon, Ned Stark's longtime friend, travels to Winterfell to offer the position to him and propose marriage between his firstborn son, Joffrey, who was a psychopath, and Ned's older daughter, Sansa Stark. Ned's wife, Catelyn Stark, receives a letter from her sister Lysa, Arryn's widow, which was the former hand of the king, saying that she has escaped King's Landing and that Arryn was murdered by the Lannisters. Catelyn quickly burns the letter and tells Ned Stark about this information that was brought to her attention, believing that the Lannisters are plotting against Robert Baratheon. Then, as the scene progresses, or rather as the season progresses, Ned Stark's 10-year-old son, Bran, who's, well, at the time was fond of climbing towers. So, as he was climbing a tower, he accidentally stumbled and witnessed Cersei Lannister having sex with her twin brother Jaime Lannister. Bran is discovered by Jaime, who pushes him out the window. Meanwhile, across the narrow seas, in Essos, the exiled Prince Viserys Targaryen makes a deal with the Dothraki warlord Khal Drogo, who marries Viserys' younger sister Daenerys, in exchange for providing Viserys an army to conquer the whole of Westeros and to reclaim the Iron Throne. Joffrey becomes king and beheads Ned Stark. Daenerys gives birth to dragons. The Red Wedding kills Robb Stark, and the Purple Wedding kills Joffrey. Oberyn finds the mountain too high to climb. Then we got the Battle of Castle Black. Stannis sacrifices his daughter. Ramsay sexually assaults Sansa Stark and castrates Theon. Jon Snow gets stabbed to death. There's the Battle of the Bastards. Cersei goes full Mad Queen. Bran becomes a three-eyed raven. Arya becomes a super assassin and kills the men of Frey. Jon and Daenerys commit incest. Ed Sheeran sings us a lullaby. The Stark kids reunite. Jon Snow assembles Westeros' Magnificent Seven. Sansa and Arya execute Littlefinger. Very, very embarrassing, by the way. Winterfell reunites our heroes and villains. Jaime Lannister does Brienne a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. There is sex in the city, and Game of Thrones starts to subvert our expectations. Yes, subvert our expectations. This has become a popular word used these days to, well, simply say they begin to do things that we did not expect. Although in reality, whenever you hear this word, just think everything has gone to shit. The Night King brings a long night to Winterfell and shows us why he is the Thanos of Westeros. No jokes, guys. This guy is an all-powerful being. He showed us that he was a big threat. Right from season 1, yep, he lived up to expectations. Arya steals the thunder from Jon Snow. I mean, seriously, that was Jon Snow's kill. We all wanted Jon Snow to kill the Night King. But, well, as I said before, this was where they started to subvert our expectations. You want talking about subverting expectations? Daenerys becomes the Mad Queen and goes Dekari on the populace of King's Landing. Drogon burns the Iron Throne, and Brian the Broken becomes king. And that pretty much sums up everything that happened in Game of Thrones from season 1 to season 8. So one of the things that makes Game of Thrones stand out is shocking deaths. Because when you look at other television series, television shows, even in films, you'd see that the main protagonist, no matter how many times he finds himself in bad situations, he always overcomes. He always triumphs over them. Yeah, you find that most of the characters come out, in one piece, but not in Game of Thrones. In Game of Thrones, there is the real danger that whatever character that is put in a bad position can die. It became apparent to the viewers from the point when Ned Stark lost his head. It became apparent that any character in Game of Thrones could die. So that raised the stakes a little bit higher because there was real tension whenever you saw your favorite character in a difficult or dangerous position or situation. They could die. Unlike other TV shows where you know that they're gonna overcome this situation, they're gonna come out of it, you just do not know how. But in Game of Thrones, if you like the character, you knew that those characters could actually die, as they have shown us with Ned Stark, Robb Stark, Catelyn Stark. Man, a lot of Starks died in Game of Thrones. They just killed them. So the show is not scared of killing people off. The second thing I think that made Game of Thrones stand out was the book series, which was named A Song of Ice and Fire, comprised of different books that were used in making this film. We had a Game of Thrones, which as you can see, that was where the name of the show was coined from, Game of Thrones. Also in the book series was A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, A Feast of Crows, and A Dance with Dragons, which together make up the series A Song of Ice and Fire. Also, you could say that George R.R. Martin himself was a big contributor to the Game of Thrones because he wrote the book series, and you could see that about the same time Game of Thrones began to lose quality was about the same time they had actually finished the source material from the books. Another thing that made Game of Thrones stand out was the compelling characters. Daenerys was so popular that even in real life, people actually named their children after this character. That was, I think, yes, you could say she's arguably the most popular character in Game of Thrones. I don't know, everybody was rooting for her to actually take the Iron Throne, which she did, but then our expectations were subverted. And you can also look at Jon Snow and his story arc as well, and how he developed and progressed. He was first thought as a bastard. He was sent to Castle Black, and from there he became Lord of the North. As we have Tyrion Lannister, who, well, is supposed to be the smartest guy in Game of Thrones, but there are some decisions that he made that weren't so smart. But you know, and plus, he is the most awarded actor in the Game of Thrones cast, so that ought to count for something. Also, another thing for Game of Thrones that made it stand out was the VFX, impressive VFX in Game of Thrones. The CGI characters, it was just great. You see, because most of the scenes, the set of the scenes we see in Game of Thrones, the actual set themselves in reality was, well, a bit small. They had to work with what they did, and so they just made a lot grander with VFX. There are scenes that you did not know at all. You saw it, but you didn't know that what you were actually looking at was VFX. And lastly, things that happen behind the scenes. People that actually work behind the scenes, the extras, the costumiers, the art directors, the line producers, the full cast and crew, aside from the main ones that we actually see on the television show, were able to make Game of Thrones what it is. But like I said, unfortunately, Game of Thrones started to fall short as at season 7, but everything burned to the ground in season 8. And I think that also is an interpretation of what happened behind the scene, because there is the news out there that HBO was willing to give D&D 10 episodes, either 10 or 8, but they said no, that they could wrap it up in 6. So that is why if you were watching the last season of Game of Thrones, it felt rushed, and so characters started doing things that they normally would not do. I mean, because Daenerys burning, well, the populace of King's Landing is just not something she would normally do. Anyways, that is my take, but we would like to know what you think. What are the things that you think made Game of Thrones the most watch TV show on the wall. You can also tell us the things you like about it or the things you did not like about the Game of Thrones. Also, it will help if you give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, yeah, peace out.